This game is completely weird and at the same time lazy, but not really bad. Let me explain. You see, Exoprimal is a multiplayer only game that forces you to play with people against other people in not really socks knocking matches, and even when there is a divide between PvP and PvE, all of it is in fact just PvP, or if we want to be more precise, it's PvPvE. The core is you just go and mow down dinos coming out of the portals. Sometimes you just protect the point, sometimes you have to kill the number of said types of dinos displayed on the top of the screen. This is the entire concept of the game. PvP means that there is a way that you are going to meet the enemies at the end of the game for first 10 hours or so. Why, I'm going to explain it later. And PvE is basically race against the enemies like in PvP, but you're not going to meet them directly on the end of the game, but in both modes they can invade your reality with a huge dinosaur and cause you delay, which you still interact with the enemies. Both of these modes are PvPvE. And I mentioned that PvP only for 10 hours you will meet them at the end point, because creators assumed that in 2023 people have enough time to spend 10 hours doing the same stuff over and over again to finally unlock something that is maybe more interesting for them. So congratulations Capcom, I got a news for you. They won't. You have to hook up the player from the start. Nobody's going to play the boring game because there's something waiting for them down the road, flickering in the distance, and they are going to unlock something maybe little less boring after 10 hours of the boring game. So this 10 hours PvP looks like this: mow down dinos, get to the final round, protect the package, literally the same thing that you have in Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, and you will meet the enemy at the end point for just few seconds. And that is that. And I was about to give up after 5 hours of the game because I was sure that I genuinely seen it all. But for some reason there's so many people that decried this game to the moon and scream at everyone criticizing the game for its laziness. There is more stuff, you have to spend at least 10 hours in the game to unlock more stuff. I'm like, most of them really were mentioning just one thing, the raid with Neosar. So I was like, okay, I will waste more of my time. Instead of playing Jagged Alliance 3, I'm going to play this for another 5 hours. So I got myself to the level 20, and I knew that I was a real deal right now, because right next to my level there was a star, and I was like, that has to mean something, doesn't it? So yeah, you unlock more stuff. You unlock maybe 1 or 2 more maps and new modes. I unlocked Capture the Flag, for an example. And at the end, yes, I did fight the Neosar. That puts both teams in the same team against the Neosar. Each team gets 30 revives and you have to kill the dino. That's it. And what is this Neosar? It's a big dinosaur with a Godzilla-like attacks. That's it. There is nothing more to it. The arena is actually kind of fucked because each time you get the cue that you have to get to the higher level platform only appear on the one side of the arena, so you are not going to make it, so you're going to die. Really great and balanced game. Talking about the balance though, there's 10 exosuits for you to play with. 3 of them are locked on the concurrent levels: 20, 30 and 40. On the 30th level there is a Murisame, which is a samurai, and I would assume most people are going to be interested in playing with this exosuit in particular. On the 40th level you have the game's only sniper, so you can unlock these suits early on. You have to pay for the Head Start kit. They didn't even hide the pay to win aspect of this kit with its name. You have to pay $15 and you get these 3 suits from the start. And I would assume when I'm in game, I play with the people that are more or less the same level as me, because right now there's a plenty of players because the game is fairly new. So when I see someone playing with Vigilant, I know that this motherfucker paid 15 bucks to get a head start. So right now we are trying, for an example, capture the flag. Oh sorry, you get sniped from across the map because this guy has a sniper rifle, which your team, who didn't pay for additional privilege of playing early on with these locked exosuits, you don't have the same ability in your team. So guess what? You're fucked. The whole balance of the game at this point goes to fuck itself. It is a pay to win, at least in the early on aspects. When you get to the level 40, there is not much pay to win or anything, because outside of this 15 bucks, there is hardly any monetization here. You can buy 2 skins for each exosuit that genuinely look like crap. And even without this, like, there is a 10 times more skins for each exosuit that you can access for free. You get, obviously, surprise mechanics with loot boxes that you receive for free, and you get random stuff with it. You can actually get some skins through the loot boxes. So, and of course there is a battle pass, because it's a modern game. So when you finish the tutorial, you're getting slapped by the creators in your face with "buy our battle pass," or maybe more like survival pass. You know, battle is hated, so maybe survival is going to cause that people are going to end up liking us for this. Game itself runs on RE engine. It is the same engine that was used for Resident Evil remakes, and to be honest, it actually looks really good and runs really good. It's well optimized, doesn't stutter, doesn't drop FPS. I mean, I would love my ass off if for the game that features hardly like 5-6 maps that are really small, and this game would have stuttering issues, but fortunately enough it doesn't. Gameplay, when you mow down hordes of dinos, can be really fun for a while. Each exosuit has different feel to it. You can change between the suits. You have the melee suits, you have the assault rifle suit, you have the guy that shoots grenades, stuff like this. You can choose the tank to defend your team, you can choose the healer. So there's a plenty of ways to approach the game, and these suits have different abilities, they have different playstyle, and if you are interested in trying most of them, this is a definitely more content for you from this game. And you can also change these suits when you are in the game, so game doesn't lock you to the suit that you chose to start the game with, and it's really fluid. You just click one button, the character jumps out of the suit, you can shoot as a regular human being, and then click Z on the keyboard, of course, and you go back to the new suit that you want to change for. At some points you're going to witness some dino species going through the evolution, which happened to me. At one point I had 2 dinos go through the evolution at the same time, and to be completely honest, this doesn't really change much. Like, they get some new attacks, and that's all there is to it. But game is going to throw some new species at you. You just have to mow them down, but there is not like every time you are going to end up having a new species to mow down. No, after a certain amount of time, like 6-7 hours, the game finally will add some new species to your game. And after 11 or 12 hours of my playtime, I finally had 3 more species, which I most of the time didn't even notice that they were new because they fall so quick. There's no challenge for you to fight against the environment at all, so even the new species coming into the play don't really change anything for you to have any sorts of fun with witnessing something new. They all fall the same. And if you like doing the same thing over and over again, you can turn on some music or some podcast and you're good to go. Like, this is not a bad video game. for a few minutes, but I seriously think there's going to be a problem for this game to stay afloat, because this feels really similar in concept to Babylon's Fall. Yes, Babylon's Fall was a terrible game. Exoprimal is way better game than Babylon's Fall. Let's establish that from the start. Babylon's Fall's idea was to put you in sets of dungeons that you had to progress through with people or solo to push the story forward. You could do side dungeons that were basically the same maps, but you still fought against the environment, with people or alone. The monetization of Babylon's Fall was relying on players wanting to come back and play against the AI in co-op, and pay for skins and battle passes, and they offered that they are going to be expanding the story and the lore of this world. Exoprimal does exactly the same thing. Most of the time you're going to be playing against the environment with other people. You can't even play solo, and the monetization itself isn't pay to win after you get to the 40th level. They want you to buy skins, they want you to buy battle passes, but how many people will be interested to come back so often to the game that is literally just mowing down the dinosaurs? Sometimes you will end up playing Capture the Flag or other modes that are going to be added by the creators of the game, and that's it. Game feels like a weird combination between Babylon's Fall and Overwatch, and will probably be dead and forgotten in a few months. But I mentioned story. Yes, there's a story. You have to grind through all of these matches to get new audio logs, new cutscenes, and sometime maybe a boss battle. This highly praised by every fan of this game, Neozar. So you are an exofighter hired by the corporation. You crash on an island. There's a weird AI called Leviathan. They take you from this island and put you against these dinosaurs in 2 or 3 years in the past, and you have to fight through the hordes of dinos, and then you come back to your team. After a few battles, you get some progression. You collect random data from the fights. You get 2 images on the screen of people that are talking and listen to what they are talking about. Meaning most of the time you just look at the photo or looped low quality GIF and wait till they end talking, or skip if you genuinely don't give a fuck. You get repetitions when you get to the summary of some sorts of the certain section after the completion. Most of the cutscenes, because there are also cutscenes that you end up unlocking, are just short jokey cutscenes that bring nothing to the story, and sometimes I genuinely wonder, like, why is this cutscene but the important crap is shown in the form of audio log to talking heads on the screen. Although there is also stuff like this, and conversation was somehow about a minute or more between a guy and a droid about the fucking screwdriver. I'm not even joking. These audio logs and cutscenes also treated like you should care about these characters that you have with you, where you genuinely don't give a shit about them because all of them are unlikable. All of them act like douchebags, and at the end of the day, you don't know anything about them. You don't see them in the game itself, so why should you care? And your character is a mute, and there are some awkward scenes when your character is going to be waving hands or having some weird facial expressions because your character is mute. They don't say anything, and they have a really weird emotional range on their face. So you would ask, after all of that, for whom this game really is made. I honestly have no idea. I don't know. The only reasonable answer is that this game is made for the people that have too much free time on their hands. But if you already have a Game Pass, you can try it. There is no harm in that. Just please, for fuck's sake, don't spend any money in it. After what I've played through, I would give this game 5 out of 10. It is an average game that should not be $60, and I don't know why it is $60. It is included in Game Pass, which was actually a good move because there's a really small portion of people that bought it. And that's it. This is something that I would expect them to release for free. But for some reason, it's full paid game that is going to be dead in a few months. That is all for me.